In this video, I will demonstrate how to apply a civil cell into our DGN file. What you're looking at is I have my mainline corridor running north and south, and then I have a secondary alignment coming in here from the east. This blue line is the center line for that secondary alignment. If I select it, we can see the name of it as 67. And then I can see my, I created a match line in my main corridor to turn off this, these end conditions on this side. You can see those here. So that way my road will tie in nicely. This grade, or in monochrome reference, is an existing design that was created in MicroStation. And I'm not trying to match it exactly to the snaps. I don't want to tie the two files together, but I'm going to try and mirror it as closely as I can. So first, I'm going to make sure I'm in the OpenRoads modeling workflow. Then I'm going to go to Model Detailing section, or the tab. Here we have a whole area of civil cell tools. I'm going to select the Place Civil Cell. It remembers the last civil cell I placed, but I'm going to open this dialog so you can see what to choose from and how to get to what you want to choose. So I'm going to select this little browse icon right here. And it might take a minute for ORD to go grab all those DGN libs. Here we can see all the DGN libs that are in our civil cell folder located within our workspace. Today I want to place this I want to place a civil cell out of this T intersection DGN lib. So I'll hit the plus sign to open a drop down. And here are all the cells that are located within that DGN lib that are classified as enabled for placement, or no, excuse me, valid for placement. There's more civil cells in this DGN lib, but they're not turned on right now. So we just see the ones we can choose from. I want to grab this basic T urban. And here we can see a little preview of that civil cell. And here's our sidewalk and our edge of pavements and shoulders for both sides. And these red lines denote elements that we're going to have to reference in order to create this civil cell. So once you determine which cell you want to place, you're going to select OK. And now I can follow my prompts. It's asking for the through road EP, and it also says that it needs to be profiled. So in my 2D view, I'll select my EOP, and my next prompt is asking for secondary road center line. Here I'll just select that alignment. Give the computer a moment to process. And here we can see a brief preview of how OpenRoads thinks we want to solve this civil cell. You can choose alternates, like let's say this stationing was going the wrong way, or our alignment was really supposed to be over here. You just need to keep your wits about you when you place these. But right now this looks good. You can see the edge of pavements right here. So I'm going to data click, or not data click, excuse me, reset to skip this step. And here it's asking me to clip which corridors I want to clip. Since this file is not the file that my main corridor is in, I'm not going to be able to clip it. You can see there, it's saying, basically it's saying it's a read only. Excuse me. But that's one reason why I create this match line in that corridor, just to keep these files a little bit more federated. So I don't want to clip anything, so I'm going to reset to complete this. And here we go. This is another, it's showing us one more time what the civil cell's supposed to look like. And I'm just going to data click to accept this placement. Once I do, the computer will process the information. And there we go. Excuse me. I'm going to hit escape to get out of this tool. And here we can see it created these linear templates, and it also created a surface template. You may not see it from up top. That just has to do with the visualization of that element template. We might change this in the future, but that's there to place medians and maybe a couple other tools. I'm not sure at this time. But one quick thing we can do is we can go to our Home tab and open the Template Manager. And within our file that's active right now, the element templates under this terrain is called Temporary Construction. From here, I can right-click on General Settings, and I can add a class or transparency. I like to add a class, and instead of primary, I'll change it over to construction. And when I do, I can toggle that that off, the construction elements off. And when I do, then you can see the pavement underneath there. So that's the first step. Now that we have the civil cell inside our DGN library, next I want to try and get it as close as I can to this existing design. From the plans, I know that these radius returns are 40 feet. So in order to grab those, I can, if I select here, it's going to grab that linear template. So I'm going to use the tentative click or tentative snap to actually grab that that linear element that they used to create that. So once I tentative on that line, I can data click to accept, and it brings up that radius. So you can see here it's 35. So I'm going to change that to 40. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. Again, I'll tentative snap onto that element and then data click to select it. And here I can select my radius and change it. And you can see that updates in our 3D view nicely. Next, it looks like our pavement widths need to be kicked out a little bit. This side is going to be a little bit tricky because the taper begins basically as soon as that arc stops. So I might handle ways to do that in another video, but for the time being, let's just widen these lanes. So you'll notice I actually accidentally clicked on it earlier, but there's actually hidden lines right here. You see where that pink line is? There's a hidden line on either side of the center line. And here we can control our width of that lane, as well as possibly put a taper in it as well. So this side over here, the right side, I know needs to be 28 feet. And watch our model update, it kicks it out. No, it's almost like I knew where it's supposed to go. All right, enough of that. Then the other side needs to be 19 feet, but it's on the left side, so don't forget to put that negative in there. If you don't, the civil cell might get sick. So there we go. I wasn't as lucky on this left side with my match line. But here's a quick way to put a civil cell in there. You can shorten these linear templates, but there's a surface template right here that we want to be cautious of. There's actually, I believe there's a terrain feature there, but you can change a lot of things inside these civil cells. So that's a visual way that I just showed you, but there's also a more methodical way, I guess, or that's probably not the right word, but through the File Explorer in your OpenRoads model, if you open this, it's not showing it here. I don't know why. I guess I'll have to close. Let's close this file and we'll go back in there and see if it pops up. Usually it's supposed to put that civil cell in the File Explorer. Let's go back to that corridor and see if it picked it up. Excuse me. Okay. So let's see what the Explorer says. There it is. So it looks like that might be a bug, or maybe I did something wrong. But you can open this drop down and you can see there's that civil cell we placed. It actually highlights it in our display. Oh, let me pin that for a moment. So as you put civil cells in these files, they'll list out here, but if you open any one of them, you'll notice that there's 4 more sections. You have references, optional references, dependent elements, and corridor clipping boundary. The references, that's that edge of pavement and that center line that we selected first. I tend to not mess with those. If I did something wrong from the get-go, I like to start over, since these civil cells are so they can be very complicated. I don't want to say they are complicated, but they can be very complicated. But what we want to adjust are these dependent elements. If I open this drop down, you'll see there's a long list, and this is all the things that get created based off of those references. For instance, we have a surface template, we have 2 linear templates. So let's say I wanted to come in here and change this template. I could easily right click on it and pull up this menu and hit edit. Here we could, let's say we realized we had a different pavement depth or something else. Since this is a surface template, there's some features, I think, like parametric constraints. I don't think that's available, but you can do things through the template editor here. And this is specific to that surface template. So if I exit out of this, you'll see that we could also synchronize with the template library, depending upon how you want to how you want to break down these civil cells. Imagine the properties will let us change the template entirely. Perhaps not. Yep, we could change it right there if we wanted to. So you can break them down by project or road. It's up to you. So that's the first one, and you can see there's lots of them. You kind of need to just get in here and explore, because as you can tell, there's a lot to look. So let's say, for instance, this CCCL control, that's it creates that based off that alignment. And here we can come in. I don't want to mess with it because of that surface template, but it looks like we would be able to shorten that element. I don't think that's necessarily what we want to adjust, but looks like, so see, there's that line that excuse me, I selected earlier. I could have come in here, probably, let's look at those properties. Here I can adjust my transition offset rule. So let's say we didn't want 28. We can change that to 22. And there to adjust that, that width. So I prefer to do it visually. You just have to figure out and learn where these elements are. But yeah, so I'm going to undo that change because I'm going to keep going with this file. So in the next video, I will demonstrate how we can taper that linear template perhaps. And actually, I'll probably shorten this civil cell up. I believe you can control the end of it a little bit better from that civil cell control line. And then we'll just come in here and maybe extend that linear template from our main line tangent there. But we have a couple tapers, we have a tangent, then we have another tape, or 2 tapers over here. So this intersection might get a little complicated as we go, but it's OpenRoads Designer, and that's what it's for. All right, thank you for watching.